Wyoming's best adventure starts in Wind River Country, located in western Wyoming, just beyond Yellowstone National Park and the Grand Teton Mountains. Wind River Country is the place to go to get away from the crowds, unplug, unwind, and find room to roam. Wyoming's Wind River Country, Yellowstone's unique neighbor.
Hey, it's another episode of Wyoming's Wind River Country, Yellowstone's unique neighbor. I'm Charene Herrera, Helen Wilson, Jessica Moore. Ladies, it's a beautiful day. We are in a Sinks Canyon State Park, and we're talking, Helen, about some cool, unique accommodations Wind River Country has.
We are. We have lots of them in Wind River Country, and the place itself is unique. And we're here in Sinks Canyon State Park, excited to hear about the yurts.
Jessica Moore, Superintendent of Sinks Canyon State Park. Jessica, you've been on a podcast with us before with the dark skies. I urge folks to check that out. But how have you been?
I've been doing great, getting ready for summer season, getting the park ready, the campgrounds ready, and particularly the yurts ready.
Which are ever so cool, unique, and also popular. So I think it's great to tell people how they can reserve the yurts, talk about the yurts, maybe go through a little tour and have some fun on this beautiful day. I'm loving it.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a great day. It's a great place to be.
So how long have the yurts been in Sinks Canyon State Park?
We have had the yurts here for a good 10 years. They were added. We've removed a couple of campsites out of the Poposia campground and started out with the yurts and then actually added to it because they were so popular.
And the dark skies designation you guys received, when people think about staying in a yurt outdoors, a little bit more primitive, not super primitive, you're not talking about a tent here, but I feel like that just goes together, having the option to be in an area like this.
Yeah, absolutely. The yurts are perfect for dark sky viewing because you have your own little deck here out in front of your yurt. You can sit out here at your picnic table and the sky is just above you for amazing star viewing.
Helen, have you ever stayed in a yurt before?
Not a yurt like this. I have stayed in some yurts, but they were very rustic.
Yeah, these are not, like I mentioned, as primitive as you may assume with the yurts. So what kind of accommodations or amenities, should I say, do the yurts have in Sinks Canyon State Park?
Yeah, so our yurts are a little bit more improved than some of the basic yurts that you might be able to go into. These do have a wall heater, so you've got some heat on those colder nights or throughout the winter, you can stay in them. They do have outlets and lights, so you can charge your phone. Don't bring a microwave or any hair dryers. That's a little bit too much for them, but you can have your basic amenities with your lights, your heat. There are several beds or types of accommodations in each yurt, so typically each one has a futon that folds out into a full-size bed, and then there's a bunk bed that has a full-size bottom and a twin-size top, and then you've got a small table and a couple chairs in there, so you can actually sleep 5 people in one of our small yurts, and you can sleep up to 9 in the large one.
Wow, and you mentioned that you were year-round.
Correct. So the yurts are all reservable year-round. They're on the reserve.wyo.gov website. You can book them if you are a Wyoming resident. You can book them up to 120 days in advance. If you are not a Wyoming resident, you can book them 113 days in advance.
Is there a minimum night stay?
One night or up to 2 weeks. So we do have a 2 weeks maximum, but sure, you could just come in for one night and check it out, see how it is, and see if you enjoy it.
Great. Can we take a peek at one of the yurts?
Absolutely. Let's go ahead on in.
Sweet. Oh, and you have a little barbecuer too.
Yeah, so outside of your yurt, you're going to have a barbecue grill. You're also going to have a fire pit and a picnic table. And then all the yurts will have some sort of outside patio area. And typically you'll have a chair or 2 out there. But go ahead on in. When we go in, you'll see these are the accommodations.
Extremely nice floor.
Yes, so they are actually done really well.
Wow.
These are done in a style of kind of rustic, out in the woods. The beds are going to have a nylon covering. The futons either have a vinyl or nylon. You bring your own bedding, but we do take pride in keeping these as beautiful as possible. They have these nice skylights in the top. They all have a ceiling fan. In the winter, we do winterize them and we put insulation in the window coverings to keep it warmer in here. And I've had people here having New Year's Eve overnights up here, and it's been 20 below, and they said, gosh, it was warm in the yurt. We had to turn the heat down. So they do stay nice and toasty year round. And then in the summer, when we open these up for springtime, we're going to take this insulation out, and then you've got your window for looking outside, but you've also got window vents, so you can open these up and just have screen and have this beautiful breeze coming off the Poposia River blowing in through your yurt.
And what's nice about this area is even on some of the hottest days in Lander or down lower, it's normally a little bit cooler up here. You've got the water right there.
It is, absolutely. And like I said, you get this nice breeze. We put screen doors on in the summer, so you can have your front door open, your screen door on, a nice breeze going through, your ceiling fan, and it's just absolutely gorgeous in here.
What are some interesting things you might, or questions you might receive from some visitors that just didn't realize the yurts were here in Sinks Canyon State Park?
The biggest question we have is, can you use them year round? So people assume that the whole park just shuts down in the winter, but we are open year round. We keep the campground plowed out and even a couple campsites. So if you want a winter camp, you can, but the yurts are open year round. People also want to know about what they can have in the yurt. So no pets, unfortunately. You can keep your pet outside the yurt on a leash. No pets inside the yurt. There's also no running water and no cooking inside the yurt, but we've got all the great opportunities outside with your grills and your fire pits. And we do have hydrants in the campground so you can get your fresh water if needed.
I do want to do a bed test though.
Yeah,
Go ahead. These are
Okay,
pretty
I'm gonna
comfy.
sit too.
Helen.
The bunk beds, they're
comfy.
actual mattresses.
Yeah.
So they're not just like camp cots. They're actual normal mattresses that we put those covers on. So you can have a nice comfortable night of sleep and no
They're
more.
good mattresses.
They are.
Yeah,
You're not.
okay.
If you're not comfortable with sleeping on the ground, I know for me, getting older, I don't like sleeping on the ground anymore. So this is perfect when you want that rustic camping experience, but you don't want to sleep on the ground.
Yeah, this seems very fun and modern, and the ground is even. When I think of yurts, I sometimes think of something that's lopsided and maybe dusty. We've got flat ground. Everything is clean. We've got a beautiful table and chairs. Everything is wood. It's a bunk bed that I can just see children wanting to sleep in the top of this with the ladder, and a beautiful viewing area in the ceiling. You called it a skylight?
Yes, all the yurts do have this dome skylight in the top. And I actually have never stayed in one of our yurts here. I've stayed in yurts, but not in ours. So I don't know how good the dark sky viewing is from inside the yurt outside, but potentially you've got that opportunity to see the night sky as you're laying here in your comfy bed and viewing the beautiful nature around you.
You guys have really thought of it all with the yurts up here. And Helen mentioned extremely clean. Let's talk a little bit about some activities folks can do right here at Sinks Canyon State Park, staying in the yurts, because I think a lot of people forget, from mountain biking, Helen and I were just talking about that, to hiking, to the cave tours.
Yeah, Sinks Canyon is a great jumping off point for pretty much any type of activity you're looking to do in the area. We have nature trails that start right here in the campground, so you can pretty much just walk out your door across the river and you have access to miles of nature trails. We also have our newly constructed Sunnyside Trail, which is our first ever multi-use trail here in the state park. So this is open to both hikers and mountain bikers, and that's just across the road from your campground here. There's also international climbing just up the road and down the road from the campsite here. So you have great access to all sorts of wonderful rock. And if you're interested in just going for a nice drive, which I love, just driving around and looking at the scenery, just driving through Sinks Canyon is fantastic. You can, in the summer, go up the loop road and all the way across out to Highway 28, and it's just a beautiful afternoon. And of course, during the summer, between Memorial Weekend to Labor Day weekend, our visitor center is open, so we encourage people to stop by there, learn a little bit about the canyon, see what we're known for, the sink, walk the short paved trail down to the rise and see where that water comes out. And then from September to about early April, we offer cave tours in our very unique Boulder Choke Cave to see where that water goes when it disappears into the sink.
How early do you recommend people try to book the yurts in Sinks Canyon State Park, or how booked up do you get in the summertime?
We are pretty booked up for all the major events throughout the spring and summer. So Memorial Weekend, already booked up. 4th of July, getting booked up. As soon as that 120 days hits for the Labor Day, that's going to be booked up. If you're looking at one of those prime weekends, you got to be on that right away. But the rest of the time, unless there's an event going on in Lander, I would say be looking a month to 6 weeks in advance to, if you already have your date set, get on there as soon as you can, because we do fill up when it coincides with events in Lander. So if it's Climbers Fest or the soccer tournament that goes on in town in the fall, we book up during those weekends too.
And Helen, the Wind River Visitors Council, windriver.org, has links to Sinks Canyon State Park for folks to find out info?
We do. We have lots of information on Sinks Canyon State Park and accommodations. And I would highly recommend coming out to Sinks Canyon for a hike or day trip or to stay in the yurts. It's just an incredible place and it's very peaceful. You leave the town, which is also a peaceful place, but you come here, you just get the fresh air and you've got the beautiful mountains around you. And right now there's a little bit of snow left on the ground. That'll start going away as things warm up, but it is an incredible location and this is definitely one of our unique places to stay.
I feel like we need to just keep our phones in the vehicle, get the board games out, a great way to disconnect. And Jessica, any news we should be watching for Sinks in 2025?
We are working on installing new interpretive graphics around the park, so people can be on the lookout for that this spring and summer. And every year we try and do something new in the visitor center, so we have a really beautiful 3D topo map that is going to be a kind of a highlight. So stop up into the visitor center. It is a map of the entire Sinks Canyon, not just the state park. And I know I love to look at those things, and I know that when guests come into the park, they're just going to really be amazed and in awe to see the whole canyon in one kind of snapshot and really see the beauty of it and want to get out there and explore.
All right, ladies, I think we should enjoy this beautiful day. Again, Jessica, well done to you and your crew for how nice the yurts are in Sinks Canyon State Park. And I hope folks make those reservations and we'll see you at the Sinks.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, we continue our trek as we are visiting unique accommodations in Wind River Country. I'm Charene Herrera, Helen Wilson. There's a lot of uniqueness with this accommodation location, and we're talking about the Rock Shop Inn.
Yes, the Rock Shop Inn is absolutely incredible, and it is a beautiful day. We came up here to check out the accommodations, and I'm impressed. The whole building, the quality of everything, it's just an amazing place.
And we have Anthony with us with the Rock Shop Inn. Anthony, this has been a definite labor of love for you, but coming up here is just, like I said, a sense of pride for us that live here.
Thank you for coming up. I appreciate it.
Anthony, introduce yourself to the folks that are listening and tell them a little bit about yourself.
Hey guys, I am Anthony Prate, the owner of the Rock Shop Inn up on South Pass. Lived up here for going on 6 years now. Charene said, renovating this labor of love of mine and getting it back open to the public. Originally from Illinois, Wyoming is now my home and hopefully will be for the next couple generations, as that's what we're doing. All this work at the Rock Shop for is to get it open to the public and so I can pass it on to my kids and their kids after them. So this is very much going to be a generational business.
You're bringing it back to its old glory, too.
And then some. So we want to do homage to the history that this place already does have, the good and the bad. This was a great place for decades, and it has a long and storied history. And I never want to do any disrespect to that, and I do my best to honor that with the history on the walls here, with the old menus, the old photos I managed to find, which anybody listening, if you have old photos of the old Rock Shop Inn or the Willow Creek Inn, please come on up. I'll trade you a free drink for them.
And Anthony is very humble. When he was introducing himself, he didn't mention he is a veteran. He served our country. Anthony, thank you so much for that service.
Thank you for your support. And this is very much a veteran-friendly place. Military, law enforcement, firefighters, anybody and everybody is welcome here. So.
Well, Helen, we did a tour of the property. We were able to look at some of the cabins, some of the restoration that Anthony's done. What was your first thought when we went through some of those amazing cabins?
My first thought was how peaceful it is here. And the cabins themselves are just beautiful. They're everything, the attention to detail in every single one of them is amazing. And you step outside and you've got spectacular views. It has a very peaceful, friendly feel. There's a couple of dogs who live here, and it's neat to see happy dogs. And everybody who's been around has been smiling and happy and friendly. And it just has that relaxed, nice feel that is good for both a vacation and good for a local visit.
I call them staycations.
Staycations. Yeah. And one of the things that stands out to me is my office is half an hour away from here. And this is local for us. And it's just unbelievable because we are so lucky to have something like this so close by. It's in Wind River Country, and it's not only an amazing asset for visitors, but it's an amazing asset for locals as well.
And as close as we are to town, we aren't 30 miles away. So close or medium, whatever you think about that. You do get that feeling of remoteness, especially with this property being completely bordered by BLM land, and then just to the north of that, National Forest. Right out of our back gate, we have hundreds of miles of publicly accessible trails. I allow the public to park here at the rock shop as long as they respect the property and treat it with dignity and clean up after themselves. People can park here at the rock shop and use the trail access right at the back of our property to get on these trails. They are multi-use. In the wintertime, the Lander Cycling Club and its volunteers do an absolutely wonderful job grooming them for non-motorized use. So we got everything from snowshoeing, cross-country skiing, and especially a wonderful fat biking crew up here. And then just starting this winter, like they used to do in the past, and I'm sure a lot of people listening to this will hopefully remember, the old restaurant here was known for people leaving Lander on their snow machines, heading up Sinks Canyon, jumping on the loop road, riding all the way down to the old rock shop inn, coming in the back gate, getting burgers and some sodas, and then riding all the way back to Lander. And that was a good day trip where they would come stay up here for a weekend and make a weekend out of it. And this was the first winter they started doing that grooming specifically for the snowmobile trails. So if you're coming in off of the loop road, I believe it's the W Trail, which we've got signage out there now. You can take your snow machines right into the back gate of the rock shop like you used to.
And this is a major route for folks that are jumping off I-80 heading to Grand Teton or heading to Yellowstone National Park. So this is a fantastic place for them to stop and be able to stay the night and just have a little stop with so much great recreation.
Little rest and refit, and that's from car travelers to these Continental Divide hikers. Eventually our restaurant will be complete. We'll have a full restaurant. We've got the saloon going already for drinks and a wonderful atmosphere and just a nice place to relax and get some information, as well as lodging. So we do full RV hookups with public bathrooms and showers, as well as the full cabins. They're, like Helen and Charene were saying, they're very comfortable. So I think it's got a little bit of everything for hopefully everybody.
And one of the nice things about the cabins is they have kitchens, and people who are visiting can cook. And as you mentioned, you're going to be opening a restaurant. It sounds like that's a little ways out, but
it is. So the restaurant is still very much under construction, as I showed you ladies earlier. But the nice thing is, while we still don't offer any food up here right now, we're going to start dabbling in food trucks in the saloon. But what's nice is, while the kitchen is still under construction and you are renting a cabin, you have a full kitchen in there. Everything, pots, pans, utensils, dinnerware, that's all provided. So I tell my guests, just make sure you bring up your groceries and you can cook whatever you want in there.
Let's paint a picture here for folks as we come into the rock shop, where you pull into the parking area here. Great entrance, by the way. Great gates, too. It's just gorgeous. But you're met with this beautiful building here. And from the outside, it doesn't quite compare to what's inside, Anthony. I love the outside, no offense, but you get inside and you're just like, wow, your jaw drops.
I was just about to say, that's my favorite part, is I go get my dustpan and I pick people's jaws up off the floor. The Reeds did a great job building this building. It has solid bones. We have done a lot of interior renovations, but like I said, the Reeds who built this building and the cabins out back, they did a good job. Over the years, though, things need to be replaced here and there, and I've done my best to make it durable, make it look good from the outside. But going 70 miles an hour on Highway 28, if you don't mean to be pulling over here, you only get a glimpse of it. So I wanted it to be very apparent. Hey, we're a business, we're open, we got some lights on. I've got a flagpole going up, some statues. But it's really hard. I don't know, you don't want to overdo it and have too much to look at. I want people to focus on what's inside. So as soon as you walk through these doors, you will have the option of going into my dining room for the restaurant, or you go into the saloon. And the saloon is a beautiful vaulted 2-story, very much old school saloon. I've got a lot of books over here that I'm actually looking at, got inspiration from. And it's cool just seeing people just appreciating. A great resource to be able to check is my website, which is rockshopinn.com. On that website, the hours for the saloon as well as the restaurant, when that opens up, will always be up to date and current, whether or not holiday hours, or we'll close for private events if somebody wants to book out the whole property for weddings or company retreats, family reunions.
Anthony, I'll be honest that probably the number one thing I'll tell people about, and Helen and I were both talking about this, but it's the bathrooms. Helen, I don't know if you were able to see the bathrooms, but I walked out and I said, oh my gosh, Helen, you have to see the bathrooms. And that's one of those things, anybody that I meet or that I know is heading here, you have to see the bathrooms.
Luckily, I own a bar, and at some point, they'll usually end up using a bathroom.
They're so classy, this vintage style tile with this copper, and it's really well done.
So my father has a roofing company back in Chicago. He works with copper a lot with his roofing, and my mother is a fantastic artist, and she likes to incorporate a lot of copper into some of her work. So I grew up really having a love for this metal, and I like to incorporate it as an ode to my parents wherever and however I can. Between the bathroom hallway with the actual Wind River mountain range silhouette cut out of copper, or the tile in the bathroom, or little details behind the bar. It's just a little something, a little nod to them.
What's your favorite thing about living in Wind River country? You're not from this area, but you found your home.
Chicago. It's almost indescribable, and I hope people listening will understand that feeling, that know that feeling. If I had to put it into one word, it's the freedom, the fresh air, seeing the galaxy every night. That's a tough question. You got me there.
A lot of emotion there, though.
Yeah,
This is a
I love
beautiful
it.
place. What's your favorite part or piece of art, or maybe it's the bathroom here at the Rock Shop Inn?
Another tough question. We're always updating.
I thought for sure you'd say the entrance.
I've got a little surprise in the entrance for people that want to come up, but we're not going to mention that on the show. I don't know. I've got some old pieces, some antiques in here, some furniture. I don't know what my favorite would be. My father's collected stained glass for a long time, and we had a couple pieces custom made. Some are antique. We're going to be utilizing that all over in the business. I do really like my bathrooms. I heard from somebody one time, a long time ago, you can judge the cleanliness of a place, of a business, of a restaurant off of their bathrooms and their kitchen. And most guests won't ever have the opportunity to step inside a commercial kitchen, but our bathrooms, I wanted them to speak for themselves. They're easy to clean, they're timeless, and again, your jaw drops when you walk into the building and you see the saloon, or when you see the dining room, and then when you have to go use the restroom, you just hear a faint, wow.
Yep, it echoes.
I don't know. I love this furniture we're sitting on up here. It's as old as it is very comfortable. This piano, this upright piano up in the lounge, is another one of my favorite pieces. Not so much for the piano itself, which is very beautiful, but for the wonderful artists that come and play on this piano. I encourage anybody and everybody, as long as they treat it with respect, come and grace these walls with some live music. So we've got guitar, a saxophone, and a piano up here. I don't know. Again, that's a tough question.
Are you thinking of having live music periodically through the summer?
Absolutely. That's going to be one of the many things the Rock Shop will be known for. We're going to have a great variety of live music, all different types of music. Hopefully pretty frequently. I'm still figuring out the timing of all that. Same with the food trucks this summer. I want to bring out some good food while the restaurant is still under construction. But yeah, live music, good times, great atmosphere, fantastic drinks. And these aren't just your regular mixed drinks. Although it is a saloon, we also do fantastic craft cocktails up here. And we'll have a wonderful selection of a rotating menu of cocktails, I guess you could say. So seasonal ones, ones crafted after holidays. It's going to be cool.
Rockshopinn.com if you're listening to this and you have to come up here, which you do. How far out do you book up for the cabins or the RV sites?
I don't have a limit on it yet. So if you have dates you want to book out, let's say 2-3 years from now, go ahead, just give me a call. We have 5 rentable units, 2 duplexes. We have 3 full cabins. And like I said, we do veteran, military, law enforcement, firefighter, teacher, and nurses. We do discounts for all of those. We'd love to do family reunions, company retreats up there. We have packages, or if you wanted to have a wedding up here, our packages as the restaurant finishes are just going to get bigger and more expansive, or as basic as people need. We've had a few weddings up here. They've all gone spectacularly. A lot of good memories made.
Yeah.
A couple family reunions. Everybody's having a good time.
You have a nice community fire pit area too.
Oh, yeah, and that's one of our favorite things to do up here, or at least mine personally, is I'm a big sucker for bonfires, and I think it's a good way to meet people, social. And speaking of meeting people, that's what we're going for here at the Rock Shop. Cell service is spotty, so prepare for that. We do have Wi-Fi up here if people need Wi-Fi. Of course, it's included with cabin rentals, but service is pretty selective up here, and we don't have any TVs. Very minimal technology in the saloon. Eventually, we will incorporate a projector screen for big events, things like wedding presentations or Super Bowl parties. But I will never have just a TV in the corner at this bar. I want people to sit down next to each other, socialize with who they came with, or make new friends with a group they just met. sitting next to them.
Anthony, what about people with kids or dogs?
So the rock shop is pet friendly. Our cabins are pet friendly. There is just an additional pet fee for those cabins. A big draw for the Willow Creek Trail system out back that is open to the public, like I said earlier, is the Willow Creek trails are also pet friendly, which is different from some of the other trails either in town like the golf course or Beaver Creek. So you can bring your furry friends out there on the trail with you. The saloon is 18 or older, and then the restaurant will be family friendly. Bring the whole family up. This is going to be a great place for everybody for a good time, family friendly, and a safe and comfortable environment.
And I can imagine that the trails out back are great for an afternoon hike with the kids who've been in the car all day, maybe on their way to Yellowstone.
Oh, you go out for 5 minutes and stretch your legs, and the next thing you know, you've been gone for an hour just because you don't want to stop walking. Yeah, you can spend a week out there. You can spend 5 minutes out there. It is absolutely beautiful.
I just find this place to be so peaceful, Helen had mentioned, and so unique. And Anthony, the attention to detail, which might be an enemy of yours at times, is inspiring. And I think, and I hope people who come here really notice that. I know I have. I could list off a lot of things I've seen and noticed, and attention to detail is your middle name.
Yes, a little bit of a perfectionist, and that has worked against me in the past, but I'm slowly overcoming that. And otherwise I don't think I would ever open. I'd always be polishing something or adjusting these picture frames within a millimeter of a fraction, combing the hair on my mounts.
Yeah, I mean, there's an endless list of things to do too, by the way.
And it's the little things. I don't expect everybody to notice them, but the people that do, I hope they appreciate it. And the people that don't, they're going to have a good time too.
Yeah, you can't help but have a good time at the Rock Shop Inn.
That's for sure. Yeah, and if you're interested in cabin, but you're not quite sold, maybe you've seen the pictures of the cabins on our website, but you're just not quite sold yet, I am always more than willing to show people around the property. You're more than welcome to stop in and knock on my door. You do run the risk of me not being here sometimes, but anybody can always give me a call. My cell phone, my contact information is all on our website and Google. And if you want to set up a tour, or if you need anything like in terms of information, anybody can call me for information.
Just come out here. It's beautiful and it's well worth the drive. And if you're driving through or coming to our area, visit, stay a long time, explore all of our tourism assets, and check out windriver.org for lots of things to do and places to go.
Yeah, the Wind River Visitors Council, she's been telling me about some of the other operations here in town, which even I've had my eye on for a while because I always like seeing how other businesses do it. Great source of information. I guess one thing I would mention is the Rock Shop Inn is very close by to Atlantic City and South Pass City, which offer things to do during the summertime, ghost town tours, gold mine tours. They've got a storied history. So that's pretty close by if you're looking for other stuff to do along with what we offer here.
And I just cannot wait to see how this continues to progress for you. And you've put a lot of work into this. And I was talking to Anthony. He does a lot of the work too, you had mentioned. And I know you're really humble, but it just looks phenomenal. Well done.
I appreciate you ladies coming up here and taking the time to see it. And like I said, you're always welcome back. Anybody listening is always welcome. So thank you very much, ladies.
All right, our next stop here is the Lander Motel. Krista is joining us. How are you?
I'm good. I'm great.
We were just talking about how when the word spread in the community that you and your husband purchased this property, people were so excited. They knew it was in good hands. It definitely looks different now.
A lot different, yes.
So let's talk a little bit to start off with that process, because the Lander Motel, you mentioned it wasn't in the greatest shape when you first purchased it.
It needed a lot of work, a total gut job, as they say, right down to the studs. And then even replacing some of the studs because of the damage. Everything is brand new, which is great. All the plumbing, electrical, heating and cooling, the new roof. The only thing we kept was obviously the original cinder block, some of the studs, and the window frames, the metal window frames, and we refinished all the hardwood floors, which originally Douglas fir from up here in the Wind River Mountains.
Wow.
Put in the 40s. 1941 was when this building opened.
Labor of love.
Yes.
Passion job.
Yes, for sure.
A lot of hard work.
Yeah.
How long has the Lander Motel been open now since the whole redo?
We took our first reservations in late summer 2023. We had just a couple of rooms open, and then very slow, quiet winter. Quite busy last summer, which is great. We didn't have all the rooms open last summer. We still had some more work to do, but now this summer We have all 18 rooms up and going. We have our guest lounge that we're standing in now and a couple other little amenities spaces.
We're sitting in a new portion of the Lander Motel, and this is the guest lobby.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. How did you come up with this design? Because you have that rustic look, but also modern.
Yeah. So we wanted to keep a nod to the original motel idea of when it was originally opened in the 40s. We have tried to get some kind of retro furniture, but wanted to have it very modern as well. So this area used to be the guest lobby check-in area. It was staffed. Our motel is not staffed. We send room assignments and passcodes to guests prior to their arrival so that when they get here, they can just go straight to the room and let themselves in. This area is now, we call it the guest lounge. It's just a place for people to gather, to relax, to work, to enjoy a complimentary beverage if they like. Or we actually had a little party here back in December with our family and some friends for the Light Up Lander event. And that was just so fun. It was just right on Main Street and just perfect spot for it.
Yeah, this would be a great spot too, 4th of July.
Yeah, it was
You can
last
watch
summer.
the parade right from the windows when it's nice and cool in here.
It was fun last summer. We put a tent and we had a little cooler with some waters and just tried to have some fun with our guests.
So cool because both you and I have worked for a corporate hotel. As a matter of fact, the same one. And it's just so nice to have that local feel. Like when people travel to a small mountain town like Lander, to stay at the Lander Motel just embodies what that is.
We wanted to there's a lot of freedom in this and that we can really shop for what we want as far as our bed linen, as far as our furniture, as far as how we want to do things. And at first it was a little bit of a challenge. I originally thought, I'm 14 and a half years running a hotel. I'll be no problem. I'll just be able to find all that stuff. But it was a little bit of a challenge to figure out where to purchase a lot of the goods and the furniture and fixtures. But a lot of things were local. We really just wanted to make it a local, nice place for out-of-towners to visit and get their feel of Lander. The location really is so excellent for just walking to restaurants or to a store.
Or the brewery that's right
next door.
That's trouble. I love it. I was reading some of the reviews and I thought the most common review I had noticed was about the check-in process and people really appreciating that.
Yes.
And you don't have to necessarily have somebody always here. You don't have to come inside. Some people who are tired with their family.
Yes.
And so the check-in process was a common 5-star review for this. And I think for those travelers that are coming through whatever time, day, night, that's really easy.
The idea came from two things. Number one, when we first started this project, we were smack dab in the middle of COVID and everything was like, we need to do things contactless. You don't want to have human interaction. And so we're like, what if we were able to just have guests go straight to the room and have a room code? The second one was when my husband Fabian was riding his bike one time between Wyoming and Colorado. It was the middle of the night and he stopped in a very small town in Colorado. There was a couple of motels there, but they were closed and he couldn't get a room. So he had this idea of what if you're able to book online or through your phone and just go straight to a room. It's similar to an Airbnb. Right. It just made a lot more sense for us so there's no room keys. You just have a code and that works for the duration of your stay. And people have really liked it.
Yeah. Can we go check out a room?
Yeah, let's go check out a room.
Cool.
So we'll start with one of the small rooms.
Okay.
So this hotel is originally built in 1941. So some of the rooms were on the smaller side. So we decided to call them an overnighter. It's perfect for an overnight stay. It has everything you need.
Oh, yeah.
But everything is brand new. This was the original size of the shower, but we really lightened it up, put a light in there, and we had an amazing tile guy, local guy. So this is one of our smaller rooms. We call it an overnighter.
Did you find yourself really enjoying picking out a certain thing or a certain portion of the hotel?
We really like the yellow color, obviously. That's our pop color, and you see it in the chair and then on the artwork on the wall.
Who did the artwork? Is that
Fabian, my husband did.
Really?
Yeah, he drew that, and then we got a projected up there, and he had some paint pens and just painted them in. And yeah, I thought it was a great idea. I love it. And then I'll show you this larger room right next door. So we have 6 of this size. They were originally, they call them family suites because there was a room in the back and they had like more bedding back there and you could sleep up to 6 people or something in these rooms. We thought, what a perfect opportunity to just put a little kitchenette.
Yeah.
So we opened up the wall and just instead of having a closed door in another bedroom.
Oh my gosh, yeah, these are really large.
It makes a little kitchenette and the bathroom's decent size. And
I had no idea this would be this large. Those fridges are really unique.
Yeah,
that's that style, the retro but modern.
Yeah, and the microwave even looks retro, although there was no such thing as a microwave back in the day. But we just thought it kind of looked cool. And then down at the end over here, This is one of our standard size rooms.
Oh, so you do have ones with 2 beds. That's great.
Yeah, this is what we call a standard room. It's in between size. Let me see if this...
So 2 beds, definitely more of that retro modern thing again.
Yeah. And then the original hardwood floors, which are so fun.
Cool.
This comes from a picture of our daughter when she was 4. We have a picture of her blowing bubbles. And we're like, just wanted to put something on the glass so that people aren't running into it. And it just adds a cool picture.
But it is neat to just know, like, Avian did that artwork we had talked about. You have a picture of your daughter, and then here's a part of that. You guys have really put your own mark on this.
Yeah. So the other thing we did is for artwork in the room, we've got posters of lander events. It's a great thing to have in the room in the summer because it gives ideas for things for people to do. And it's also, the artwork is just so cool on those. It is. Then there's another one over here for the YO 131. And any events that are in the area, they have a cool poster that has some cool artwork. We think that's a great idea for artwork in our rooms.
Never would have thought of that. I travel a ton, Krista. I've never seen that. I've seen them sitting out in a pamphlet style or in a book that might have an every run-of-the-mill kind of event list.
Yeah.
But to actually incorporate that as your artwork, change them out.
Yeah.
That's genius.
Yeah. Again, my husband's idea. I have to give him the credit for that. One other thing I'll show you is we have our guest services where there's vending machines and guest laundry.
I did see one of the reviews was talking about how nice the laundry was.
Yeah. It's a coin-operated washer and dryer and some vending machines, ice. And it amazes me how often this washer and dryer is used. People that may have a stop on the way and they're like, oh, yeah, I'll do the laundry.
Sometimes it's harder to find the places that actually have facilities, but I think that's a great selling point too, Krista. You have the family and the kids, and you've got to do some laundry unexpected.
That's about it for the tour. I think I've shown you every room type.
Are you expecting and anticipating a really busy summer? How are things looking already on reservations?
Booking pace is definitely over last year's. And we're almost sold out for 4th of July weekend, and we've got a few other weekends that are pretty full with wedding groups and just other random travelers. And I love these advanced reservations that are already coming in. We didn't have that last summer. We had virtually no advanced reservations.
Oh, okay.
So this summer we have quite a few. I guess our name is getting out.
Yeah, and you probably have some return folks that are
We have a lot of returning
guests.
Yes, I love our returning guests that come back. There's several people that come stay once a month, or whenever they travel to Lander, they come stay here. I love that. Returning guests are the best.
What is the best way for people to book the Lander Motel?
Okay, 2 options. You can go online to our website, thelandermotel.com. That is the only place online to book a room with us. We are not on Expedia's or TripAdvisor's or Booking.com. It's just thelandermotel.com. There's a place to book a room there. Or call us directly. I am happy to answer the phone anytime, day and night. Take reservations all the time and call us at 307-206-5144.
I'm wishing you guys the best. I hope we get to come back and visit you again on the podcast.
I hope so. Thank you so much for coming out today.
Thanks for tuning in to Wyoming's Wind River Country, Yellowstone's unique neighbor. Visit us at windriver.org and follow Wyoming's Wind River Country on Facebook and Instagram. This podcast has been brought to you by the Wind River Visitors Council.